They got out with what they could grab going right out the door. New tonight here on the Night Team, the stories of escape from the burning apartment building near downtown Louisville. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt. Tonight, dozens of people living in a new Lou apartment complex are left without a permanent home, their belongings destroyed in this morning fire. The fire was first visible just after 6 this morning at the apartment complex called 310 at New Lou. It was so large, take a look. The smoke stretching across the Louisville skyline as drivers came in from southern Indiana on their morning commutes. Now, from the WHAS11 drone, you can see how nearly 100 firefighters worked to put out the large flames from both the ground and up above. This is at Hancock and Jefferson Streets. The fire burned through much of the 4th floor rooftop, exposing the top units. WHAS11 Night Team's Taylor Woods and photojournalist Addie Hill are talking with some of the people who lived in this building.
Just hours after fire, smoke, and blaze took over the 310 at New Lou apartment complex, dozens of firefighters remain on scene. Firefighters towered above the building on ladder trucks pouring water. The water spilling out of this apartment like a waterfall. The flames lit up the neighborhood. Residents like Andrew Adler are just grateful to be alive.
I gathered up my cat, I gathered up my passport, I threw on some clothes, I scooted out the door, went downstairs, came outside, looked up, and what am I looking at? I'm looking at flames. The
flames destroyed the 9-year-old apartment building that opened in 2015. Firefighters say no one was hurt as the interior collapsed.
Units were pancaking into the bottom of the garage where my car happens to be. Clearly, this was not a false alarm.
37 units were occupied in the 4-story building.
I have resources. I'm not destitute. I'm not going to be on the street. I have friends. I have colleagues who care.
Most displaced residents are being assisted by the Red Cross. Louisville Fire Chief Brian O'Neill says fire crews were first called around 3 in the morning for a burning smell. Crews were then called back just after 6 where fire was coming out of the building.
Unfortunately, when you're dealing with this newer, lightweight truss construction like this, once it gets going a little bit, it's going to take the whole structure very, very quickly.
The cause of the fire is still being investigated. O'Neill compared the apartment structure to buildings built over 50 years ago.
My house in Old Louisville could probably burn for quite a while. Get firefighters there, put it out, and we could still remodel it.
Most of the residents housed in the building were med students. Their personal belongings, furniture, and textbooks now ruined.
My only clothes is what I'm wearing right now. So totally lost everything.
This U of L med student and her husband moved into the apartments just 2 months ago.
We actually don't know yet. We're gonna say, I don't know. At this moment, my head is spinning. I don't know what to do.
And take a look. This Louisville fire truck remains on scene. This is actually the fire truck that was out here when we were out here earlier today. It looks like fire crews are still monitoring closely since the interior of this apartment building has already collapsed. And Louisville fire officials say they expect more parts of the building to collapse. Reporting live in New Lou, Taylor Woods, WHAS 11 Night Team, on your side.
Taylor, thank you. Our hearts are certainly with those residents who lost everything. And with 100 Louisville firefighters on the scene, the chief says at one point, some of them were actually inside the building fighting the fire. He tells us that they quickly noticed a major change in the flames that had them pulling the firefighters out of the apartment building.
We had fire crews mostly fighting fire on the 4th floor, getting up into the attic. We had fire crews that were on the roof, cutting holes in the roof to allow some of the heat and smoke that's in that attic to vent out. So we had most of the fighting was going on there. For us outside at the command post, we can see that fire is starting to show that it's on those floors in between. So that's when we made the decision, we've got to get everybody out of there because we can't have it collapse. They're thinking all the fire's above them, but it's also below them.
The outside walls of the apartment complex are still standing. Jefferson Street reopened earlier this afternoon. We also learned tonight that the fire displaced 6 University of Louisville students, and a university spokesperson tells us they're now working with them to find temporary or long-term housing. U of L has also provided students with food vouchers from Kroger and vouchers for emergency supplies. More local news, all new here on the WHAS11 night team. A man was sent to the hospital tonight after a stabbing was reported at Oxmoor Center in eastern Jefferson County. Police tell us tonight they believe this was an isolated incident. Louisville Metro Police responded to the shopping mall on Shelbyville Road at about 7:30 tonight. They found a man inside a business with a stab wound to his forearm and his rear end. Officers say the man was alert and talking with them before he went to the hospital. Police report that everyone involved in this is accounted for, and detectives are working to find out the relationship between the two if there is one. Also new tonight, we've learned that a second person has now died after 4 people were shot in the Russell neighborhood. Louisville Metro Police say the victim died the day after the shooting. 4 men were shot in a car near 12th and Ali on January 31st. 1 man died at the scene while the others were taken to the hospital. Right now, we don't know the current status of the other 2 men who were injured. LMPD says their investigation is still active, and anyone that can help them should call their tip line anonymously at 574-LMPD. A Jefferson County grand jury has indicted this woman for 3 home invasions in Louisville, including one where an elderly woman was attacked and injured. The grand jury indicted Jamara Curitan on 5 counts of robbery, 1 count of assault, and 3 counts of burglary. Those charges are in connection to 3 home invasions from last November to this January in Valley Station. During the incident in January, an 82-year-old woman was attacked as she tried to get away. Jail records show Curitan remains in the Louisville jail. Officers in St. Matthews have a new piece of equipment that the police chief hopes will improve transparency for St. Matthews. All 45 officers, including the chief Barry Wilkerson, are now equipped with body cameras. The program officially launched on the 1st of February. The cameras are always recording video and will actively record sound when an officer turns it on or activates their car's emergency lights. The video can be stored for up to 2 years on a cloud server.
I think it's important that the community is seeing what we're doing. I think it's important that they know what our officers are doing. And I think in those situations, especially critical incidents, we have good documentation of exactly what happened.
The cameras cost around $400,000 over 5 years for equipment and storage. That price is offset by a federal grant from the U.S. Department of Justice. Police in southern Indiana are investigating what caused a large fire overnight. This was the scene shortly after midnight when the Tri-Township Fire and Rescue Department arrived at a home on Pinta Place in Memphis, Indiana. That's just a few miles north of Sellersburg. Initial reports said people nearby reported hearing a loud explosion or gunshots. Back at the home later this morning, you can see where the roof and half of the house burned away. Bricks are also scattered across the driveway. While the fire impacted 2 nearby homes, firefighters say no one was hurt. New tonight, bringing free mental health services to West Louisville neighborhoods. Through funding from Humana and Greater Louisville, Inc., 2 Louisville practices are taking the financial burden of health care out of the equation. WHAS11 night team's Alex Dederer spoke with the 3 women who are pioneering this program, and she shares how many people this program will help.
Well, the West End of Louisville is a marginalized group that doesn't often get opportunities like this.
Free mental health services for 80 West End Louisvillians.
So participants receive 3 mental health sessions and 3 massage therapy sessions.
Martin and Mira Counseling, along with the nonprofit group Tip It Forward, are launching a free mental health services program for the people in the West End. It comes as Norton's West Louisville Hospital is also nearing completion, putting a priority on the health of West Louisville.
There is a heightened demand for mental health. There's really not enough mental health counselors to go around. In particular, there's not enough access to mental health in the West End.
Research shows the increase in, especially right here in Louisville, the effects of grief and loss from homicide. There's an increase in suicide, increase in domestic violence, increase in drug use.
189,000 adults in Kentucky have a diagnosed serious mental illness. That's according to the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Of the 232,000 Kentuckians who did not receive needed mental health care in 2021, more than 40% did not because of cost. Financial burdens, a key barrier this program helps to alleviate.
Not having the worry of financial, concerns and not being worried about other things and barriers.
And keep opening doors for the neighbors of West Louisville.
opportunity is the main door that is going to open opportunity for mental health services, an opportunity to get the help that individuals need to learn about, mental health and their traumas.
And enrollment for the free mental health services will be open through December. You have to be between 18 and 35 years old and live in West Louisville. We have the details posted for you. Additional details at WHAS11.com.